It shouldn't have worked. Every year, round about the late summer, I make myself a very special BLT. Now, you can make a BLT any time of year, I guess, if you think of a BLT as a bacon sandwich. But a BLT is not a bacon sandwich. It's a tomato sandwich garnished with bacon, featuring bacon. Well, let's say with a special scene-stealing guest appearance by bacon. The lettuce isn't really a wow factor in the sandwich. Sometimes I use romaine, sometimes iceberg, sometimes leaf lettuce, or even arugula. And the bread doesn't need to be fancy either. You can use thick, sturdy slices of sourdough if you want, but squishy white bread with a bit of a toast on it does the job just as well. But my main concern when I make this sandwich is to come up with some bacon that is worthy of the tomatoes I'm going to use. Sometimes I'll buy a special bacon, some thick-cut, applewood smoked, heritage breed pork belly sourced from a city hipster meat market or a remote Wisconsin farmhouse. But usually, I cure and smoke my own, starting around the beginning of August or even in late July. But it's been a busy summer. I had Ragbri in late July, the Tri-State Tour in August, the North Shore Century in September, all these bike rides to train for. I spent so much time putting in the miles on my bike when, in previous years, I'd have been packing in the calories like I was a contestant in Fat Bear Week. I didn't even start my bacon until early September. I cured half a pork belly with salt, a molasses-heavy cane sugar from Mexico called piloncillo, and some canned maple syrup from Quebec. After around 3 weeks of curing, I rubbed the belly with more of that maple syrup and a hot Carolina Reaper spice rub I bought from one of my favorite vendors at the Grillade Festival in Quebec as well. Then I smoked the bacon over mesquite for several hours, chilled it overnight, and sliced it nice and thick and ready for sandwiches. So why shouldn't it have worked? Because it's now October. Summer may have only officially ended 2.5 weeks ago, but peak tomato season tapered off around Labor Day. Still, I managed to find a few beauties hidden among the vines, including a yellow brandywine gorgeous enough to tempt a hobbit into the unknown. Now, I'm not trying to tell a warm October to get off of my lawn, but I do remember spoopy season being a bit chillier when I was a kid. I guess one plus side of the impending climate apocalypse is that I can still get good tomatoes out of my garden this late in the year. To finish my sandwich, I used toasted sourdough, red leaf lettuce, Duke's mayonnaise, a tomato's best friend, and I seasoned my garden beauties with a bit more of that Carolina Reaper powder. With components of that sweet and spicy bacon coming from both Canada and Mexico in addition to the U.S., you'd probably have to charge $20 for this BLT in a restaurant these days. It's terrific. I'm particular about my BLTs. I like the ingredients stacked in a certain order. Mayonnaise usually gets spread on the bread, but it is, at its core, a salad dressing and should be adjacent to both vegetable components of the sandwich. Yet the tomato and the bacon are the featured dancers here, and they need to be cheek to cheek. You can build your BLT how you like, but mine goes bread, mayo, lettuce, bacon, tomato, mayo, bread. And while this might be blasphemy for a true southern tomato sandwich, I like my bread toasted for a BLT. And that may seem like a lot of sandwich. That crisp, warm sourdough, toasted brown and gold, the yolky vinegar twang of old Eugenia's favorite spread, that thick, smoky bacon with a bit of toasty maple sweetness and a sharp spike of Reaper heat. But the tomatoes are still the star. Savory sweet with a hit of acidity. Less so than a perfect August tomato would have. But for October, it'll do.